In this space, we protect dignity, yours and your child's, especially when behavior is hard. We believe structure is stabilizing. We believe calm is leadership. We believe fear distorts perception. This is where parenting becomes steadier, more intentional, more grounded. Let's begin. If you've ever tried giving your child more choices, more freedom, more control, and somehow things escalated instead of improved, stay with me. Because what you were told to do wasn't wrong, it was incomplete. And by the end of this video, you're going to understand the difference between control and autonomy in a way that will change how you see your child and how you see yourself. I'm Christine, and this is not just a parenting strategy conversation. This is a power conversation. It's a fear conversation. It's an identity conversation. And if you really let yourself sit in it, it becomes a freedom conversation. Most well-meaning parenting advice says, give them more control, and sometimes that works beautifully. Sometimes it creates choice, which reduces power struggles, which restores cooperation. But with explosive, anxious, trauma-impacted, or highly reactive children, that signal can make everything worse. You loosen structure, you expand options, you give them some power, and suddenly your home feels more chaotic instead of less. And then you start doubting yourself. You think, I tried this healthy thing, why is this blowing up? Let's slow that down. Because what failed wasn't autonomy, it was the misunderstanding of autonomy. Autonomy is movement inside of safety. Control is urgency inside of fear. Autonomy says, I feel grounded enough to choose. Control says, I don't feel safe, I need to take over. They look similar externally, but internally they are opposites. Here's the part we don't talk about enough. When your child escalates, your nervous system is activated too. You feel something, a tightening, a surge, a rising heat, a spike in urgency. Maybe it's anger or embarrassment, fear about what this means long term. Maybe it's fear about being judged. Maybe it's fear that this will never change. When that fear rises in you, you reach for control. Not because you're a bad person, but because you're human. Control feels powerful. Fear feels small. Now let's go deeper. Love and control do not truly coexist. You can have leadership, you can have structure, you can have boundaries, but the urgent need to overpower and dominate and win or shut something down, that is not love. That is fear, wearing an authority mask. When we are acting from fear, we are not fully ourselves. We are reacting, we're bracing, we're defending. We are trying to regain stability. But when we're grounded in love, not soft permissiveness, real grounded love, we are autonomous. We are steady. We are not scrambling to control another human being to feel okay. We are okay. That difference is everything. Here is the paradox. When you let go of control, you step more fully into your own autonomy. You become more yourself, less reactive. You stop parenting from fear and start parenting from your identity. Your identity needs to be stable. Fear is unstable. When you're operating from autonomy, you don't need your child to calm down in order for you to calm down. You do not need them to agree in order to feel respected. You do not need them to comply in order for you to feel competent. You are steady regardless. And when you are steady, power struggles lose oxygen. We're going to go even deeper now. When your child explodes, something inside of you wants to move, wants to fix, or wants to shut down. Maybe it wants to explain or demand, withdraw. That urge is discomfort, and underneath discomfort is fear. Fear of chaos, fear of losing authority, fear of long-term consequences, fear of failing, fear of being seen as weak. Control is how we avoid feeling that fear. But if you can sit in your own scared, really sit in it, without reacting from it, something profound happens. Your nervous system stops amplifying theirs. The escalation doesn't double, it softens. And fear cannot survive long inside of steady containment. I was watching a movie recently where two people were helpers, helping other people for their jobs. The man says, really frustrated, "Why do we even help them? We just annoy them." And the woman says, "They're scared. It's better to be annoyed than scared. That line stayed with me because it explains so much about our kids. It is better to be enraged than scared. It's better to be defiant than scared. It is better to be mean than scared. It's better to be explosive than scared. Anger feels powerful. Fear feels vulnerable. So the nervous system chooses anger. And when we respond to anger with more control, now we have two scared nervous systems trying to balance. That's the cycle. Cycles don't break with force. They break when we become steady. There's another word under this entire conversation, and that's dignity. When a child escalates, what we often interpret as disrespect is their fight for dignity. A nervous system that feels small tries to feel big. A nervous system that feels powerless tries to seize power. A nervous system that feels exposed tries to dominate the environment. And if we overpower in response, we escalate the threat to their dignity. Here's an even harder truth. When we react from fear, we compromise our own dignity. We say things sharper than we meant. We talk longer than necessary. We over-explain. We overcorrect. We collapse into appeasement because we're afraid. Neither one is autonomy. Both are fear. Dignity is discipline restrained. It is strength without aggression. Dignity sounds like, I love you, and the answer is no. It sounds like, we're not discussing this right now. It sounds like silence instead of the final cutting comment. It sounds like walking away calmly instead of slamming a door. When your dignity is intact, you do not need to win. You do not need the last word. You do not need immediate compliance. You are autonomous. And autonomous adults do not need to control other people. So what does this mean practically? It means autonomy must live inside of structure. If a child is stressed, you narrow their choices. If they're overwhelmed, you simplify. If a child is dysregulated, we anchor them. Instead of, what do you want for dinner? Do you want to say chicken and rice or chicken and potatoes? Instead of, when will you start? We say 4 o'clock, math and reading first. The boundary is stable. The choice lives inside of it. The adult nervous system holds the frame. This is autonomy inside safety. If you're still watching, it's probably because you've already tried giving them more control to fix it and it didn't work. You're not looking for trendy advice. You're looking for something that actually lowers intensity in your home. So here's the piece most people leave out. This is not just about your child's autonomy. It's about yours. When you function from your own autonomy, you are grounded, you are calm, you are steady, you are not reacting from fear. You stop needing to control. And when you stop needing to control, the power struggle loses fuel. Here's what usually happens next. When control struggles continue, parents pivot to motivation. Sticker charts, points, privileges, incentives. It feels logical. Control didn't work, so maybe motivation will. But if the behavior is rooted in fear, adding performance pressure does not increase safety. It increases feelings of being evaluated, that the child is going to be evaluated and judged by you, which activates their threat. So instead, we're reducing control battles. We are intensifying them. Not because you used the incentives wrong. Safety first, structure second, motivation last. Once you understand what reward systems really teach your child's nervous system, you won't be able to unsee it. Watch that next.